I have an opening in mind where I'm walking up to wherever I'm going to do the time on the mic, and I've got the walker, but I'm not using it to get up to where I'm going, but I open it once I've reached my destination. And I say, all the opening stuff that I plan to say about who I am, about being a divorced person, about growing up without a father, and how that can go. I never made it on the pole or nothing like that, but I've done my share of shit, of dirt. The kind of dirt that's really between, you know, you and God, unless you know a motherfucker like Joey Diaz, and he might know your shit, because he's not gonna tell nobody. Maybe. Anyway, yeah, stuff that you just kept between you and the Lord. There's stuff like that, and until I got until I got married, until I went through this whole process of confession of all my sins, every raw deal that I did, every bad thing that I can think of, and there's a lot of bad things that I can't unthink them because they're already in there, of experiences, of things I've done, of things I've planned to do. I'm talking like things that I've discussed in therapy, and I have a certain feeling about what these things say about my mental state. I'm questioning what it says about my mental state, and the psychotherapist is not confirming or denying my suspicions. And I don't want to, psychoanalyze myself or diagnose myself, but you know, if you're left with your own devisings, you'll devise. Anywho, I need to then share at least a couple of the brain injuries. The minor stroke in 2008 with the pulmonary embolism. Then in 2011, the aneurysm and the brain surgery to correct the aneurysm, because uh, there's a procedure that they do where the blood vessel is like thinned and bulges out, so there's some damage going on, and they do this procedure to go in there and clip it, and they tell you that they don't have to clip it, and you can just leave it alone. But if you just leave it alone, it's still the thin bubble there that the vein has, the place where the blood's going through has thinned, so it's like the hose that got messed up and that part bulbs out on there, and eventually that part wears out, and then psh, the water sprays out of there. Well, the water spraying out of there at any given time, not knowing when that's going to happen, that's not the water spraying out, that's my blood spraying out. And when people have an aneurysm burst, they usually don't live. They they don't usually live. They don't usually find that you had this thing in here until, unless if they autopsy you or whatever, they're not knowing that that's what happened. But for me, I had a bad headache, and I went to the emergency room because I don't get bad headaches. I'm like, what's going on with this headache? I can't see, what the fuck? And they tell me that you've got an aneurysm and shoot me off to another hospital that's supposed to be the bomb diggity dealing with this kind of problem. And I get that taken care of, and I rehab. I go back to work October of that year, and I continued working. So that's October of 2011, and then it was like September of 11 I saw Carlos Mencia for the first time, and it was him, and then it was Ralphie May that said it the next time. But I need to be closer down front, not just to see but to hear and pay attention to the program going on. And he called me hot chocolate down front. And a couple of weeks ago when I saw Ralphie May, he called me hot chocolate as well. I see you, hot chocolate, and I didn't realize I was the only black woman in the VIP that was at the meet and greet afterwards. And I was like, well, did he call me hot chocolate because I'm the only black person, or because I'm a good-looking woman? So I don't want to get all caught up, so I just let it go and went on about my way. I posted the pictures on my Twitter of the Ralphie May, and I've got the ones with Carlos somewhere in my room, because whenever I took that picture, I didn't have the kind of phone that I could upload it or do it like that with it. Anywho, October of 2011 is when Pimp Granny was born. Pimp Granny, baby, what you need? I need it all, Pimp Granny. I need it all. I need it all. But Pimp Granny, baby, facilitate this, facilitate that. It is September 20th, so I know I'm going to be loading this in the next couple of days. And the 19th, the actual day, Saturday, that was my dude's birthday. I text him happy birthday in the morning, and then we had coffee and stuff together this morning when he finally got over here. I needed him to get over here before noon, and he did. And then I took up his time. Seriously, took it up. He's a good man. He makes me happy. Yeah, and I'm like that shit, man. Even with this challenges that I have, the mental challenges that I have, and the disturbance I feel over my loss, I know, or I feel, he's got my back. And there are others, you just gotta weed some people out of your life, because they're either leechy, like trying to get something from you, or garbage trucky, they're always trying to dump something on you. You're their receptacle for all their stuff, or leechy, like they're trying to get something from you. And it isn't always blunt and blatant. A lot of times it's subtle and stuff. And one of the things that I have fear of, and I used to fear this for my twins, because of them being somewhere on the autism spectrum, I would always be hard on Joe when I perceived, after I got the lowdown on what was happening, that even though he didn't feel that he was doing it consciously, because of their limitations at that time, he was taking advantage of their position, of them not being able to adequately communicate their wants. Because that's when all the fights started. All the fights started when Joe could start, when they started expressing their will and it conflicted with Joe. That's when the fight started, because Joe, it was no longer what Joe said goes, because Joe's the only one that's talking to me. When David and Caleb started expressing themselves contrary to Joe's opinion, desire, selection, is when the fighting started. And with me, I don't know. I I didn't want them to ever be taken advantage of because they didn't know something. Something as simple as, you go to the Circle K with $1 for a fountain drink, but you don't know how to make change, or you don't know, what you're supposed to get back because, the Polar Pop or the fountain drink is 79 cents, it's 86 cents with tax or whatever. You don't know what you're supposed to get back. You're just giving the dollar and walking away, or you don't know how that transaction is supposed to go down. Then someone can take advantage of you, and it can happen in a number of different ways. And to me, I'm wary of someone taking advantage of me because they perceive a, 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 a challenge in me. If I can't find the right word for something, or if I didn't remember, I've been in Circle K, and I'm talking cold sober, and I'm waiting to pay, but I've already paid, or I've gotten my money back and I'm waiting for more money to come to me, and it's just not cool. Not cool, man. Not cool, baby. Pimp Granny's not getting played. Not getting played, motherfucker. So that's where the mod eye comes in, and my duty's giving me stuff to write on and ways to keep information close at hand so that I can have it and find it, keep track of funds and what I spent and where I went, and because stuff will just be gone, and you have to think, well, how did it just be gone? You're in charge here. You got the keys. What happened? What did you do? What didn't you do? I've got the signs of, did you take your medicine? Take your medicine, so that I can take my medicine or be reminded to take my medicine, specifically on the days when I have dialysis and I don't take the daytime meds. If I start my day with my dude, I have medicine and I have coffee. It's a routine, it's a habitual thing. But on the dialysis days, there's no morning medicine. It's just the evening medicine and the bedtime medicine. I don't know if that medicine is making me go to sleep or what, but I have to look into that. When the hat comes on, Pimp Granny is on. Joey Diaz. Let me see if I got some juice in my phone. Boop boop. I like that, dude.
Big and beautiful. Big and beautiful. Big and beautiful. Big and beautiful.
My friends ask me, hey Monkey D, what's the secret with for young ladies? At your side there's oh so many. When we have none, you got plenty. Well I say guys, you know the deal. My king size body, my sex appeal. Everywhere I go, girls follow me. I'm a macho, having hit right to see.
Big and beautiful. The bad boys are beautiful.
number one. Till you had a fat boy, you ain't had none. See, I'm smooth, sexy, and debonair. Girl, I got a bad Lord for you to share. Take three, I'm any guy that you see. That's how much love you give from me. Got so much to give, just for the taking. I'm a hot blood for you. I'm aching, I'll make your day. I'm a love gourmet. Can't wait to see you in the necklace shape. I'll hold you tight and never let you go. Girl, you know I'm a jumbo jiggle love. But if the right time selling, it ain't about me. You start to shiver when you look at me. Big loving is the only way. Party people in the house, everybody say
Big and beautiful. The bad boys are beautiful.
Everybody loves a bad boy. Big and beautiful. Joey Diaz, that was for you. Now I go on here. I gotta get in my purse. I guess I'll do that tomorrow because it looks like I've got a couple of more views on my food capture one, the one where I was having the food memories. And that's a long one, so I'm always surprised when I see that. That's almost an hour. And over a month ago, I asked different people to to view it and give me some feedback. You know, my mother said that she watched them, but she doesn't have any feedback to give me other than that she doesn't like them because it's real stuff that's happened to me, her daughter, and I I just needed to find a way to deal with it myself and finding things to laugh about. Because nobody's talking to me. I'm here alone, so I'm really just talking to myself or the, what do you call it, the, because the camera doesn't have no feelings or nothing. It's not, oh Pam, that's too, oh I'm so sorry. It's not, I'm not getting any feedback from the camera. I'm just really just hearing myself talk. And I put things together once I've seen it, because then I can follow where my thoughts were going, because I'm seeing it almost like I'm watching myself on TV, but I'm watching myself in a recorded clip recording. And then, you know, the ones that were up on the internet, other people that aren't me have been watching these. And I asked them, I was like, when you've got an hour to kill, because I'm telling them up front, some of them are only a few minutes long. One of them, this one I'm asking to look at, is about an hour. So when you have an hour to kill, and of all the people that I know in the last month since I uploaded those videos to YouTube, either they didn't find an hour to watch this and give me any feedback, or they just didn't really have any. And I'm like, well, did I just shock them that much? Is there I'd give up an hour. I'd give up an hour for an acquaintance. You know, I'm not working now. I have time, you know, for that. When I'm not at treatment, you know, on the days of treatment, I'm not doing anything. I try not to schedule anything. I'm not trying to do anything. It's fatiguing to me to get up there, and I've got to go there to stay alive. So that's all I'm trying to do on those days, is get there and get through the treatment. The other days, you know, I don't have treatment, and I needed an outlet for what was going on. You know, I have, you know, different feelings about how things used to be, where I could write to have an expression, a creative expression of things, make up stories that I'm writing and everything, that I wanted to pursue that, and now I can't put a fucking sentence together. I had to do something with the stuff that was piling up in there, so I was doing this. And I think that it's working, you know, but I don't know what crazy looks like, you know. I don't know what crazy looks like, and I don't have any papers that say I'm not crazy, so I don't know. There's a story in our family about this woman who had papers to say that she was sane, and I don't know how it all came down verbatim, but basically it boiled down to, bitch, if you got papers that say you sane, you crazy. So I don't want those papers either. I don't want to know what it looks like. I might think whatever I want to think in here, but I don't need anybody to label it. I don't need anybody to label it. You hear me talking, yeah, because Brock is stomping around. Brock, what the fuck, Brock? Well, you didn't hear that I said that Brock Lesnar, a bronze dipped Brock Lesnar, because it's really the thinker, Rodan's thinker, and it's easier to say Brock Lesnar than to explain how the thinker came to life in my head and the whole museum experience when I got to see the thinker and looking up the thinker and it being a casting and blah blah blah. Suffice to say, it's a big bronze dude, and the only big dude that I know physically intimidating enough that would feel to me like that thinker statue that I saw at the Norton Simon Museum, if it stood up and come to life, I think it would be about the size of Brock Lesnar, because I've read his dimensions and everything, and physically, he's a massive dude, and but he's dipped in bronze. He's naked, and he's dipped in bronze, and you don't want to make him upset. But I guess, you know, nobody wants to make Brock Lesnar upset, but I would imagine that he's an affable guy. Maybe one day I'll meet him. I don't know. I'd like to. I'd like to. I wouldn't be afraid. No, I wouldn't be afraid. He's a good. I'm sure. I'm sure that he's just as physically intimidating as I imagine, but because I have this relationship with him in my head of I'm faced with that beast of masculinity throughout my day, throughout my he's with me, so I'm not intimidated by him anymore because I've got to live with that shit stomping around. And I try to keep him calm. If you keep Brock calm, then everything is golden. It's only when he's upset that you got issues. You don't want Brock Lesnar upset. No. And then there's the whole Bill Cosby thing. I recorded some parts of some Cosby, the women speak or some shit. I caught the last part of it. And I just really, it's very, did I get some of it? Cosby, the women, all of these women tell the same story, and I'm like, dude. And the guy on the set, the guy that played the oldest daughter's Navy husband dude, he says, well, he never witnessed anything, but there was just this parade of women, and there was some sense of something, but no, I didn't see anything, but there was a sense of something. And it's like, they can't all be auditioning, all these parade of beautiful young women can't be auditioning. And when they get to the part where they feel like they're being drugged, they've ingested something, and they're feeling their limbs, and he's sitting them down and petting them and stuff. I'm like, dude, the one girl who called him, you're a motherfucker, aren't you? And he just put her out in the cab and sent her about her way. It's there's some creepy stuff in dudes' brains, man. They just are, Carlos Mencia said it best when he said that they'll do anything. And when he says, I'll do that, and he's like, can you keep a secret? And I'm like, because it's all that base when you get down to it, the stuff in your mind, the stuff, a lot of things are just base level stuff, whether it's your pleasures, your passions, your angers, the things that the things that you'll fight and die for. If those things are messed with, what level of heinousness you will get. I mean, you get medieval on them. You know, it'd be medieval, and I see. I agree to some measure of agreement of being medieval and know my own capacity for violence. Feel I don't. It's never that personal for me because I'm not gonna cut a motherfucker. I'm not. I may believe that rule number 9, you should always have your knife or don't go anywhere without a knife. I may believe that that's a valid rule, but I'm not gonna cut somebody. I don't want I don't want their blood on my hands. I don't want blood spatter. I don't I don't want the ESU team figuring out how I did something because of the blood spatter and the type of knife I used because of the way I twisted it and it scarred the skin or whatever. Bullets are a lot more, I don't want to say professional, but they're a lot more impersonal, and it just takes one little bullet from a distance. You know, I'm not all up on you, but then you think that's why those crimes of passion, when somebody's got up on you and jigged you up real good, they really had beef with you. They really did. So hats off to those that will stab a motherfucker. Stab a motherfucker because I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I don't want to get that close. I'm more apt to put a bullet in you or bludgeon you. So be wary of heavy objects. There's different things, and I don't have a lot of regular heavy objects. It'd always be something that would lead back to me, you know. So no, it's bullets keeps me away from it. Keeps me at a distance. I don't want to hit you in the head with a candlestick thing. Fucking trophies. That is a heavy candle thing. It's all glass, and basically, it's not moving because it's not on or anything. So basically, it's just this solid weight of a heftable size and everything. And if you chunked it at somebody's head, you're liable to connect. Or if you just hit them with it, you're going to connect, and you can cave it in that way. So, it's similar to like a bat or a pipe. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to see anybody's brain matter. No, I don't want to see any brain matter.